So I'm hoping you just watched the 1.2 first part where we looked at categorical data and how we can do a proportion bar graph to see where things are falling between two different variables. The one we looked at was if you want to get rid of the penny, abolish the penny, and we had the male versus female, and if you were for or against getting rid of the penny. So now we're going to look at a different set. We're going to look at quantitative data. Okay, so distribution again. We're looking at how the pattern, our data set is going to be spread out. We had categories last time. Now we're going to be looking at a continuous list. Okay, we're going to be looking at quantitative data, numerical data. The question I want you to think is, how many states have you been in? Okay, this is going to be a numerical answer. You've been to 10 states, 20 states, depending on what it is. So what kind of data is this? Quantitative, numerical. Okay? So what you need to start thinking through this course is, what type of data do I have and what type of graph can I use to display this data? So since we're looking at quantitative data, we're going to look at a dot plot. Now dot plot's a way of seeing where the numbers are. Okay? It's good when you have numbers that are going to repeat a lot. You don't want to have too many or too few, but that's kind of the same for almost all data sets. But you want to make sure that there is some repeats, just so you can see where things stack up. If there's going to be a set where numbers are going to all be all be on their own, there's all distinct, no repeat numbers, you might want to think of a different type of graph to show this. So one class I had put together this. How many states have you visited in the US? And we have those points. Okay, we can see a good amount of students were between 0 and just above 15, we'll say 16 there. And then we have some of these people who have been around the country a good amount, 25, 30, about maybe 43 states they've been to. So this is a picture of a dot plot with quantitative data. Now, if I would ask you to describe this, okay, for right now, some key things I'd like you to point out. Okay, I'd like you to point out the max and min. Where's the lowest value? Where's the highest value? Okay, outliers. Would you consider any of these point outliers? I would say maybe these 3 points out here, they're a possible outlier, especially that point at about 43. It doesn't fit the pattern. The majority of students were right in here. Okay, they fit between the 0 and say 16 mark here. Okay, so that 25, 30, 43, those might be considered outliers. And be able to estimate your center / median. Where is the center point for this? Okay. When I ask you to do that, I don't want you to start calculating where the median is, which you could do. I want you just to kind of eyeball it. So even if I ask you to do this, you don't really have to give me one exact answer. You can give me a range. Okay? If I'm looking at this, okay, I know my center most likely is probably right around here. We have those outliers that might pull it up a little bit. So I'm going to say my center is maybe between 8 and 10 states. Okay, the median, there's a good chance the median falls between 8 and 10, somewhere along there. So that's what I would say. For my center, 8 to 10 states. Okay? Now when you're comparing multiple dot plots, things that I want you to focus on, statistical tendency. Okay? That's kind of what the center is. Where do the students tend to fall? How many states do they tend to be in, have traveled to? In our case, it was 10 to 8. Central tendency, it's the center. On average, where does it fall about? Okay? And if you're looking at two separate dot plots, it's easy to see, does one tend to be higher than the other? Okay? The consistency, which one is more consistent? Consistent means everything's going to be pretty similar to each other. Everything's going to be close together. I would say that last dot plot was fairly consistent. It did have those 3 outliers, but the majority of people were right around that area from 0 to 15 states. Okay? And the variability of the distribution, that's what the consistency is. How spread out is our data? Okay? So you got to see, is things very consistent, close together, or are they spread out? Is it covering the whole graph? Okay? So tendency is the center of the distribution. Consistency is the spread of the distribution. Okay? These are some terms that we're going to start using more and more frequently when we start looking at histograms. Okay? We're going to have to describe what's in the histogram. We'll start talking about the shape a little more, get a little more detail about the spread and the center when you're describing those. For right now, this is kind of just an intro of how I'd like you to look at dot plots. Okay? So that would be the end of section 1.2.